Adventurers, storytellers, welcome to this week's edition of the Worldbuilders Society with Ansel and Maui.
So what we're going to do is, over the course of the next couple episodes, we are going to create a world, or Adam's going to create a world. We, Ansel and Maui, the World Builders, are going to help facilitate that by yes-anding and throwing out ideas and helping usher it along. And when we are done, we will do an actual play. Now, how we keep all of our thoughts organized and everything, we have a whiteboard that Ansel mans. When we are done, this empty canvas will be full of lore and interesting characters, and we will release it so people can see the whiteboard as well, since this is an audio podcast, at least for the world building portion. The actual play will be videotaped. Where do we start? I'd love to ask you a little bit about your process, Adam. What's your process usually when you're like creating a story, a one shot?
That is such a great question. I have no earthly idea. It is just it's just like a cascade of ideas 24/7, and sometimes enough of them, much like how raindrops coalesce around little bits of grit and stuff in the clouds. Whenever a kernel of an idea just accumulates enough idea detritus around of it, then it starts to pull other things towards it. As far as what actually inspires me, I think in terms of world building, I guess, I don't know, I start with a premise, and I try to figure out, I don't know, what makes sense to me. A recent, semi-recent, I guess it's been a minute now, homebrew campaign. I just started off with an island that had a huge fuck off sword just stuck into it. That was the jumping off point. I was like, okay, there's going to be an island. There's a huge fucking sword sticking out of it. That's where we're going. Obviously, everybody's going to want to figure out what the huge fucking sword is about. Somebody probably wants to pull it out in some way. How the fuck did it even get in there in the first place? And then from there, I was like, okay, well, what else about this island? I mean, people, either it's only been around a short while and nobody has any idea what's up with the sword, or it's, has to have been around for if no one knows what the answer for the sword is, maybe the island is very new. And then from there, I was like, okay, maybe the island is so new, so brand new that a bunch of all of the nations are fighting over it, but it's difficult to get to. There's no resources on the island. And then it became an exercise in okay, how would you survive on here in this magical setting? If you can't secure some sort of major resource on the island, how are you sustaining yourself? Is it through magical means? Are you making deals with demons? That sort of thing. So I don't know, that's maybe sort of a version of what my process tends to be, is starting with a premise, and then all right, how would people make this work?
Yeah. Love it. With that in mind, let's establish our premise then. Do you have a premise in mind already?
I came loaded with 5 premises that I figured I would just throw out there and see if any of those, struck some sparks. So here's what I wrote down. Here's the 5 premises that I wrote down.
Love it.
Okay. So I've got crustaceans only adventure.
Ooh.
That's premise 1. Premise 2, are we still in the simulation? That's premise 2. Premise number 3, hairdressers, but fighting. That's premise number 3. Premise number 4, we must keep the lights on to survive. And premise number 5, I just wrote breakfast foods. So if any if there's one of those 5 in particular that that feels toothier than the others, I'm
I love
I'm
all of
perfectly
them
happy to go down
personally.
any of these rabbit holes.
Is there one that like out of those 5 that like stuck out to you at all?
I mean, not really. Are we still in the simulation and maybe we must keep the lights on to survive? Maybe stick out to me. Not just because those are the less silly ones, but I think that that could. Those are specific in a different kind of way than the specificity of the other ones.
Yeah. Yes. I think like the one that like stuck out to me the most is just because I thought it was the funniest was Hairdressers, but they fight.
I mean, I could see that being a whole Netflix series.
Yes. From the people that brought us K-pop Demon Hunters.
Hairdressers,
like,
but fighting.
Yeah, hairdresser mecha fighters, like, so,
Yes.
But keep the lights on to survive. I love that like horror vibe there. Like I feel like just that paints a very interesting premise.
I think are we still in the simulation might be challenging to do, but that's not necessarily a reason not to explore it as an idea.
I think that makes it more interesting almost.
Yeah, because I feel like I could instinctually figure out how to gamify we must keep the lights on to survive. But I think are we still in the simulation presents its own sort of like how do we gamify that experience so that it's not just like an arbitrary like thing, but a genuine feature of the game that is being had.
Yeah.
Okay. So that sounds like that's our winner.
So one thing that I like if I'm designing a one shot as opposed to like a campaign, I like for there to be like a pretty clear goal. I'm very much about like front loading a lot of shit for one shots. Your characters are already invested in whatever it is that we're doing. It is very clear what you are here to do. We're not going to spend 20 minutes in a tavern or a tavern equivalent deciding whether or not we're going to play the game that we're about to play, or yes. Deciding if we want to do the thing that has actually been, prepared.
So can I put something forward that this makes me think of immediately?
Sure.
It makes me think of the moment after the end of the Matrix movie where they've gotten out into the real world and now have to question if this is just another layer. Is that where you're going with this? Do we give the players like a given circumstance where they understand what the simulation was?
I like that.
Right, like we come in media res at the end of them like defeating the simulation, and then it's like the next day, are they still in the simulation?
I kind of like that. Yeah. I mean that
where they think the game is clean up the robot scum, and it's actually like, hold on, something.
I think if there's I feel like there has to be some sort of a mechanic present for like testing the bounds of reality, and so I think that within the within the sandbox of like, okay, here's the premise. You can fuck around as much as you want within the premise. You are going to know going in that you are in a simulation. Your characters are in a simulation, but or at the very okay. In terms of what the players know versus in terms of what the characters know, like the players know that the object is to like figure out if you are still in the simulation, even if the characters don't necessarily. No, I think it's good for the characters to also have some sort of awareness that like what they are in is a simulation, because that way they can that's the kind of information that gives players agency from the get-go, is like, okay,
Mhm.
you understand what is being asked of you, so now you can make informed decisions rather than everything just feeling so arbitrary that everything matters and nothing matters.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe another
Fascinating.
sort of like, I mean, The Matrix is sort of the obvious choice to kind of pull some inspiration, but I think perhaps, oh God, I'm forgetting it now. The movie Leonardo DiCaprio, and there's the spinning top, and they go one level.
Oh,
Inception.
Yes,
yeah.
Inception.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was thinking the exact same thing, and I was
Mhm.
actually thinking, if the premise is, are we still in the simulation? Do you have them make X amount of characters, roll a die,
Mhm.
and that's how many levels of reality they have to go through to get out of the simulation?
Hmm.
And they don't know, like what layer is going to be the real.
Yeah. I think
Oh.
the simulation is maybe kind of broad and could either be, um like in Inception, it's, layers of consciousness. I mean, it's not like
Hmm.
each layer is like a different dream world rather than like,
Oh yeah,
an
good
actual,
point. Good
an
point.
actual like
Hmm.
simulation a la The Matrix.
Hmm.
This was okay. This was an idea that popped into my head. Just okay. Yeah. Cool. This was an idea that popped into my head. I do like the idea of there being a reason for the characters to have to work together. Rather than just like, okay, I am gonna like fight my way out of the simulation by myself. I feel like there's got to be some sort of a justification for like, no, it's impossible, or very challenging to fight your way out by yourself. You need to rely on other people, some sort of like cooperation mechanism that
Mm-hmm.
is required in order to, burst through to the next level of the simulation.
And should that be like a clear and present danger, or is that a like thing that they fuck around and find out?
I think again, my answers are going to be slightly different. I think because we have a one shot in mind, so I think that if this is it should be one of those things where like maybe there's a special sort of like mechanic, and the mechanic involves like a shared thing. So like when you are, when the mechanics of this particular game, all right, everybody's gonna roll a die, and then you add them all up together, or you add this person's and subtract this person's thing. There's like some sort of a cooperative die roll that we work in there.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Is this simulation? Is this a machine based thing? Is this uh like, are they just fucking college kids signed up for a fucking experiment? Like.
Okay, this is where I think this is where we can have some fun and kind of fuck with the players a little bit. Because I
Hmm.
can think of like a bunch of different reasons to be put into a simulation. So what if like, going through the layers is like, maybe the first level is like, okay, so you're criminals and you've been sent into the mind of this uh tycoon, and if you like find the thing, then your sentences will be commuted, and you burst through the next level and you're like, no, actually, you're traveling through deep space, and this is like a necessary survival technique, is we make you think that you're criminals that have been put into this thing, and then you like make it through to the next level, and it's like, oh no, this is actually like a spiritual mind journey. It's just people usually have to like unload a bunch of like weird sci-fi crap in order to make it through to this level. Like maybe each level is its
Mm,
own,
yeah.
different flavor.
they think they get the answer until they notice something's off about the world and realize we're still in a fucking simulation.
Oh, and then at what point have they escaped? Yeah, that's cool, because
then
the players fully know, but they also still don't know the totality of what it is.
And they will always doubt what's reality, right? After the second or third time, like, even if they get to the end, did we get to the end?
Yeah. And I'm okay if that's how ultimately it ends. I think that the challenge then becomes like you do have to give them a win. Otherwise, if it feels oh, well, you weren't meant to, survive that fight. Okay, well, then why did we spend 2 hours in a fight we weren't supposed to win? So, let's see here. Time cop.
So what is the world that supports all of this? Like, is there, if we think about the
what is
circumstance
the
that
actual,
generates the situation?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe we just let's see here.
Actually, you know what? Before we answer that question, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What is the theme that we're addressing with this story?
Oh, yeah. That's the bigger question.
And I think that will inform us with what is the motivation behind the people that run the simulation.
Maybe it's maybe the theme is identity. Maybe as you okay, here's a thought. Maybe as you ascend through the levels, you find out more about yourself. I think that there should be a reward for progress, and maybe the reward is I mean, it could either be something that we have predetermined, it's essentially this is a pre-generated, character, and as you progress, you get to find out more things about that character. Alternatively, as you progress through the levels, you add a new aspect to your character. They get more fleshed out as the game progresses.
I like the aspect.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what do you got? Answer?
No, that I like the idea of adding aspects, because it allows the player's choices to define the things that are true, as opposed to having predefined things that they get handed. Unless you feel confident that the things that you've predefined are things you can work into the gameplay. I think allowing their choices to be the catalyst takes some of that pressure off of you.
And I think that can be a fun reward mechanism. Is okay, you get to make more of your character as the game goes on.
Right. If the aspect is loss of family, they remember I had a wife. Or sudden realization, they get to add an extra layer of pathos to their character. I think that's really fascinating.
Okay.
Are there any other themes that you would want to play with? We've got identity.
I mean, at the very least, that feels like the main theme.
Is it identity in isolation, or is it identity as a community? Because we're
I think it's community, because I think that cooperation and group cohesion is definitely the way to go.
This is also now giving me with that theme in mind, making me think of Severance.
Haven't seen it, but I've heard good things. I know.
You gotta watch Severance. It's so freaking good.
Ooh. Okay. Here's a thought. This is also giving me Psychonauts.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So here's a thought. As in terms of the layers, rather than okay, this is the science fiction layer, this is the fucking ayahuasca layer. What if each of the layers like is one of the characters?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pull on that thread a little bit more. I love it.
Okay. So because I feel like because there's got to be some sort of a goal, on each layer. And just in terms of like, what that goal could, there's like a thing to figure out, there's like a thing to solve. And I don't know, maybe this idea just came from a place of like not wanting it to feel so, again, so arbitrary that we're just floating around in nonsense land where nothing matters and everyone is confused. But like, um, part of the, maybe it's like a two-part goal. A layer is a two-part goal. Whose layer is this? And then like, what is the shit that has to be figured out or has to be fixed? Or what is the conflict that is necessary to happen in order to shake something loose? Maybe this is uh maybe it's a combination of like, identity but also memory, some sort of like a memory recovery thing. Or maybe it's maybe it's a big metaphor for therapy.
Oh my God. What if they're just doing, what if like it's just group therapy?
Yeah, but it's like
In the
really
end.
intense
It's like
sci-fi group therapy.
yeah, like far future group therapy. They put you through these like wild simulations.
I mean, they're putting people on Molly for therapy these days. This is
so another inspiration. I'm gonna add it in there.
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I just rewatched that for the first time in several years.
First time I heard that Beck song in there when he's driving at night. Everybody's Got to Love Sometime.
Mhm.
I think it's called. Like I just burst into tears. I was like, "What is this song?"
That's the correct response.
Holds up pretty well.
I haven't seen it since the early
yeah.
2000s. I'll have to rewatch it.
It's a good rewatch. It's a real good rewatch.
Also, I randomly put in next to Time Cop that I was in love with Mia Sarah. So
it occurs
Fair
to me
enough.
that Time Cop, we may have moved away from Time Cop, but now it's too good.
we
to
have
take out.
definitely moved away from Time Cop.
That's fine.
But,
There's still some traces of Time Cop DNA in here.
But I was in love with Mia Sarah, not because of Time Cop. Well, because of Time Cop, yes.
Time Cop doesn't hurt. Yeah,
but also Sloane in Ferris Bueller.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah.
question. Okay. Okay, so I know that there's like a section where we figure out NPCs and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're not quite there yet. Okay, so
Hey,
establish
we can
the
do one
world.
now if you
Establish
got
Yeah,
the
if you're ready to hop into that now, if that's
I'm
gonna
not
help
quite
you,
ready
you
to
can
hop
go
into
there.
that now. Okay, so how many how many players do we have? Since we've sort of probably determined that like each layer, each setting is, a different PC essentially.
We have 3 people and myself if you want a 4th.
You know what? Yes, let's do that. I'm going to tell you
Or
right
I can
now.
recruit a 4th between now and then if you would like a 4th who doesn't
Tell you
already
what,
know the
see
secret.
about recruiting a 4th.
I'll get us a 4th.
Yeah, recruit a 4th. If worse comes to worse, we'll have you be the 4th, and that'll be like the last layer regardless. So that there's probably some shit that I come up with that you don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, so I think.
So, are we going to give them then like pre-generated characters that they will uncover those aspects of as they go along?
I think it's a little column A, a little column B. I think we go with maybe some like broad archetypes as characters, and then as they like progress through, then the players themselves sort of like define more specifically what this character is about. depending on like how they navigate that particular level, what is discovered, etc. Oh yeah, that's another good one. That is another
Yeah.
good one.
I was just thinking, like, what if these people that are going through this therapy, what if they're not good people? Like, what if in fact they're terrible people?
I mean, it would make sense that they'd be in therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this extreme form of therapy to try and like you're going into people's minds to find core trauma and help them confront it in the hopes that they become better people.
Maybe part of the hand wavy premise of this is that like, oh yeah, we can't just send you into your own mind, because people found that terrifying and they would just like lapse into comas. So we have to send a minimum of 4 people in there so that you don't just like disappear up your own asshole.
There's enough mental buffer or something like that.
Yes. So, I do actually. That is kind of fun. That could possibly like factor in as a mechanic, as a way to gamify it a bit. Is that like, if this is your mind, the terrible things in this level are going to want to focus on you, and so the others are there to keep you safe, to keep you from just like collapsing inward. We may want to pre-screen our players for like actual like triggers and traumas and things.
Yeah, I think definitely like be upfront, like, hey, this might be a bit of an emotional thing, and if you have any traumas that we should not go towards, make sure we are very strong with their lines and veils. But so my thought was, because you were saying, having if Ansel plays in this, having Ansel go last, you could have Ansel be the doctor.
Could be,
right? Like, because of course he's not going to just have them go in by themselves, right? Like, of course he's there to like control it or like hit the eject button. You could potentially
whoever
have
player number
like
4
that.
is, they have a button, they don't know what it's for.
Yeah. Or if you have somebody else do it, they don't even know it. You don't give them that until they hit the button and they remember who they are.
Why do I have a glow stick?
Fascinating.
Yeah.
This is such a
I just watched that yesterday.
Okay. So thoughts, I guess, thoughts on like at least 3, but maybe 4 sort of like general archetypes. At least enough to sort of like, give some shape and some definition to the different layers.
Yeah. Archetypes in terms of character or archetypes in terms of worlds?
I mean both. I mean, I would say that they're related. Like, much like with Psychonauts, the world sort of like informs about the type of character.
So I think we, then to me that's like, okay, are we going with the premise that these are not good people?
I mean, I'm not necessarily
need to be bad people.
I'm not necessarily married to it. I mean, if we go with the premise that like these are troubled people, like this is like some sort of like very science fiction-y extreme form of exposure therapy, where you're just gonna confront. You're there to confront your demons. So definitely, people with demons, but I don't think that they have to be like terrible people.
Okay.
Except for Ansel's character, who should be the worst person.
Yeah. Oh, easily. Yeah. You mean the murderer, the child murderer?
Perhaps.
So I was thinking, oh my God. It took a second for my brain to even register the words you just said. The first thing that popped into my head is not even action based at all. The first thing that popped into my head was like the romantic, and it's like someone who's dealing with like spousal loss,
grief. Okay.
so it's like, it's like unpacking grief, because like in my head, like what paired with that was like a romantic comedy, which is like so opposite direction of like
Ooh.
action and
Right.
whatnot,
But
and could
also,
really fuck with people's heads.
I think if we like sort of like outline the settings in terms of like movie genres, if we use that, because I mean, it occurs to me like what's nice about that is we're already operating within like known tropes. Like, okay, the setting is like this is a romantic comedy universe. Okay, everybody can sort of like adjust to what that probably means.
Mhm.
As opposed to this is like uh I don't a Marvel movie setting. I don't know why
See,
that.
that I think pairs well with like someone with a hero complex, a doctor or a cop, or
Mhm.
like somebody, a soldier, uh, who's like unpacking something
Mhm.
in that profession,
Um,
in one of those professions.
yeah, I think that like being able to like quickly like okay, you've like broken through, you're in another layer, you're in another like, someone else's brain simulation. We're in a different movie archetype so that, they can just like hit the ground running and they're not like, "Oh, what the fuck do we do in here? What is this place all about?" You at
Mm-hmm.
least understand like what the new setting is all about as
Hmm.
try to figure out how to solve the thing that's
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
What fuck it. I mean, we got to have a horror movie setting in there, I think.
Absolutely. Horror movie either could be someone who's done something harmful to someone, or somebody who has been harmed,
Mhm.
in some way, shape, or form. Uh, or dealing with a fear.
Let me throw this out there. It could be in the opposite direction. The sort of person who is like so safe and so closed off, sort of like an agoraphobic type, where this is what's exciting to them.
I mean,
Hmm.
I would go so far as to say I think that's more interesting for all of these. If it's meant to be exposure therapy, if rather than someone with a hero complex, if we put someone who has no motivation to save people into a superhero joint, if we put someone who has trouble making human connections into a rom-com, if we put someone who plays everything super safe and never makes any risks into a horror movie, like, does that drive them to make those choices or learn that those choices are available to them?
Hmm.
Mm. Yeah, I think you go. I think like either way could work potentially.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Adam?
I Yeah, I think that that's possible. So here's okay. I don't think it'll be that hard to just like go down the list of like every movie genre
Yeah.
that exists and like
Yeah.
figure out an equivalent. All right, this is what it is. Um, so I think to me the next challenge is like, okay, how do they move forward? What is it that is you know I mean, this is like a very cool world and a very cool setting, and I think that we absolutely, I mean, shit, I could sit here for like a few hours and just like crank out a bunch of minutia. I think the
Hmm. Hmm.
challenge to me now is like, okay, how to gamify this? Like,
Yeah.
what is the mechanism by which the characters accomplish things and move forward?
Hmm.
Um, Off the top of my head, this feels, I mean, this feels sort of I mean, not to like get all okay, not to get like all tied down to a definite system, but at least in terms of what we've sort of put together here, I want to sort of initially throw out maybe like a Call of Cthulhu sort of setting where like
Mm-hmm.
the characters are fairly human. Your skills are going to be sort of like grounded in reality. Encounters with like the bizarre, the spectacular, that's like scary shit, and you're going to be changed when it happens to you. Also, like any sort of like direct conflict is gonna have huge consequences. Um,
Yeah.
Do we
and
think does Call of Cthulhu still have that madness tracker?
I'm pretty sure they all do. Well,
I'm pretty sure they do.
and
Yeah.
the other reason that I suggest possibly using Call of Cthulhu or some similar system is that from what I recall of the very small handful of times that I've like played it, it feels very like um, solving a mystery oriented, which this kind of feels like.
It's got good mechanics for investigating and digging into questions and
finding
stuff.
shit
Yeah.
out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could like slightly reskin the madness tracker to like a mental health tracker, I feel like that kind of slots in well with
I
this
mean,
kind of
that could
world.
be really interesting if instead of it being a madness tracker that like, oh no, this is like you feeling better about yourself as the tracker goes up.
Well, and if what we're trying to teach them is to take risks or break out of their everyday, if
I mean,
that's what
progress can be traumatic. Mental
yeah,
health
it can be
be
like madness, like trauma. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that fits super well.
Yeah, I think on one side you have regression, on the other side you have actualization, right?
Mhm.
So
Actualization, that's what we should call it.
Mm.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So then back to the question, how do you gamify that? How do you reward that progress?
I think if we actually approach it if we work backwards from the mechanics, from like what the system is good for, what the system excels at doing, so it's like a process of uncovering. And if we essentially like okay, instead of like uncovering this book full of cosmic horrors that is going to melt your brain, you are finding out some sort of like deep truth about yourself. So I think it is about okay, if we sort of set it up like murder mystery style where uh there are clues, and the clues are pointing to a thing, and the thing is like maybe it is like I mean, this is kind of trite in like actual mental health terms, but like, oh, there was like a pivotal moment, or like there is, some sort of thing that you have buried deep within your psyche. And so being able to uncover that, being able to come to terms with that, that is what allows you to progress, and can then um,
Mm-hmm.
here's another. Let me throw this out there. This is maybe flying in the face of our initial idea, but also this is sort of taken on a life of its own.
Yeah.
Instead of like, okay, as you like solve everybody's problems, you can like burrow up through to the next layer of consciousness. I mean, what if it is possible just to like, skip between the four psyches, and like
That could
moving
be
from
cool.
like, one setting to another is not without risk, maybe that can also have an effect on the actualization meter or something. Um
I love that.
yeah, because then it's not like, oh, well, we'll solve the like, dumb problems first before we work our way up into the people with the real problem.
Building off of that,
Yeah.
I just had a light bulb moment. So I'm in therapy, and
as are we all, perhaps.
As are we all, for sure.
As are we
we
all.
should be.
Solidarity.
And one of the things that I have been working on in therapy is talking to my parts. I don't know if y'all are familiar with parts work. So all of a sudden I just had the realization, what if all these players are the same person? What if they're all parts of the same person?
Oh, is this just everyone is John?
It's inside out, it's different aspects of self. It's Herman's head, if you remember that old television show.
Yes. It's not just everyone is John, Ansel. There's so many pieces of media all using this same archetype. I think that might be like a fun thing to like save for the end. Like maybe, if they get to the end, that is the grand reveal, is that like, no, you're not separate people. This is all just one person.
This is all different parts of yourself, right? Because like those parts can take on very different personalities and shapes and forms. I think that could be interesting because we don't all just have one trauma point. We have multiple trauma points. And so, the grief, the hero complex, I've been harmed, like all these things could be part of the same person.
Any thoughts on like a fourth trope genre, what you will, that feels distinct from rom-coms, horror movies, and like superhero movies?
Kid movies.
Talk more about what makes a kid movie, because I feel like most kid movies fall into.
Also, I feel like genres have like gotten real blurry over the past couple.
This is very true.
Yeah.
I mean, noir.
Nostalgia is kind of the thing I think of when I think of kids movies.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you know what?
Like unfinished.
Maybe we
business.
do have an action-y movie in there, like a fucking dumb ass 80s action movie in there. The sort of thing where like, like this is the place that is dangerous. It's not exciting when you're actually in it. I don't know if that skews too close to like superhero movies where, there are no stakes because everyone can do everything.
I think it adds something in that superhero movies at least have the pretense of a through line and plausible scenario, as opposed to like a lot of 80s action movies. It's just like, these guys are the best in the world at blowing shit up. And that guy over there, boy, does he need to be blown up. I think you can lean into that, like the underlying causality. It's just explosion porn, right? Like causality, schmausality. We came for what we came for.
Legal drama could be really funny.
Procedural,
yeah. That could be a theme of inequity. Yeah, I pulled up a list of film genres here: horror, action, science fiction, drama, thriller, comedy, western, fantasy.
Yeah, science fiction.
Yeah, all sorts of things.
Okay.
Yeah. Documentary. I don't know how you do that, but that would be fucking hilarious.
You know what? Fantasy, I think I kind of like, because that's like the sort of, it's a bit superhero-y, but also like a little more like serious, or at least it takes itself a little more seriously. Yeah, self-serious.
I don't know if you can sing at them, but you could just go full musical on them. Just start singing at them. They're like, what the fuck is happening?
Okay. All right. This is okay. I feel like I could at least narrow this down to like three to four like real meaty ones with some bite. Okay.
Real quick, last thing I'll say before we move on.
Yeah.
You could have like, you could touch on some of these where you just hop into this for a second. 80s action movies, just explosions. It's because you're in someone's head and they just started thinking about an action movie they saw last week. You could still flirt with some of these things. You could pick the four that are the things you're actually.
That's true. Really, I mean, maybe 80s action movie is just like fight or flight reflex. Maybe this is just like, a mind, currently your nervous system is overwhelmed, kind of like, mid panic attack. It just feels like 80s action movie. Ooh, okay. Because we might be straying into like NPCs, and two thoughts occur. one of which is sort of inspired by
that is the next on the
movie.
on the to be done. So,
all right.
Yep.
Let me propose 2 NPCs right off the bat. The doctor, the whatever psychiatrist who is overseeing this as an NPC rather than as one of the players.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is a companion that cannot be harmed and is useful, but not to like an extreme degree. A little bit of like a walking exposition machine, but like does not know everything. Generally knows things about like, how the procedure works, but doesn't know why you're fucked up. And then the other NPC is like some 80s action movie hero that is just like pursuing the group through the various psyche worlds.
It's just
like the Terminator kind of thing.
Yeah, and like okay, like this guy is just gonna make you freak out about shit. The great Call of Cthulhu thing, where like okay, like actual physical confrontation is very dangerous. So I also kind of like the idea of having that sort of character as an NPC, because if things just get a little too like indecisive, and you just sometimes you just need orcs to attack, sometimes you just need like a little cattle prod to get the characters to commit to some decisions in the face of extreme waffling and planning.
Love that. I love that. I feel like there should be like, even if the form changes, there should be like one defining physical characteristic so that that's the unstoppable force.
Maybe it's like
chasing us.
I'm thinking either like a Rambo headband, or maybe like a T-1000 like mirrored sunglasses. Like whenever like if there's like a character with mirrored sunglasses, watch the fuck out. That's the danger zone right there.
Danger zone.
Join us next week as we continue building this world with Adam McAleavey as our special guest. The Worldbuilders Society is a co-production of Indecisionist Productions and Reflect Games. Find The Indecisionist on all of these social media platforms I can be bothered to be on, and check out some of my other amazing podcasts and TTRPG Pickup Con, a free monthly event going on at ttrpgpickupcon.com. Find Maui at Reflect Games, and check out the weekly live streams and incredible gaming content at Reflect Games on twitch.tv/reflectgames. Find out more about the Worldbuilders Society at indecisionist.com/worldbuilders.